Hello everyone, it's Michael. We're gonna skip the normal introduction today because this video is supposed to be all about Tupac, or almost all about Tupac. Okay, so the primary goal of this video is to convince you all that Tupac Amaru Shakur was a bona fide prophet of God. My secondary goal is to prove to you all that I am soulbound to Tupac. Okay, so firstly, the thumbnail to this video is one of my favorite pictures of Tupac. I screenshotted it off a visualizer of a remix that I found a couple months ago. I haven't been able to find it again, but yeah, just the purple haze in front of his eyes, the screenshot was perfect. So, and you have to admit, there are not very many human beings that have ever lived that can compare with that intensity and focus of his look. Okay, next, what do I mean by that I'm soul bound to Tupac Shakur? I mean, on my first Aries birthday, which is April 5th, 2022, or was April 5th, 2022, I realized I was or became soul bound to Tupac through a story that I will tell you in the future. That day was not the first day that I was introduced to Tupac. That day was the day of Armageddon, April 4th, 2021, Easter Sunday. Again, I will clarify this in a future video between Armageddon and Aries' first birthday, amongst other things. That'll be in like the next 3 to 5 videos, probably. Okay, next. Recently, they released a documentary called Dear Mama on Hulu that was about Tupac. It's also about his mother, Afeni Shakur, and she's another figure that we are going to talk about in the future. But for right now, I would highly suggest you watch the documentary because it's very, very good, and you can learn a whole lot about Tupac. What I'm saying, and this will make more sense if you watch my previous videos on what happens when you die and the one on the Akashic Library, is that through his many traumatic experiences, whichever one or combination it was, Tupac got connected to the Akashic Library. He got connected to God, whether he thought of it that way at the time or not. But I think he probably did as it developed. And with that connection, whenever it happened, Tupac was able to create or discover or make so much more music or content or work than any human should be able to do in that short span. And I'm not the only person on the planet that realizes that, because uh, here's a screenshot of somebody that details just exactly how much work he did put out in a short matter of time. In my screenshots, that one's named 7 Years of Tupac, because from the time he became a legal adult at the age of 18 till the time he died at the age of 25, that's only 7 years. In 7 years, he wrote over 700 songs and 7 movies. So that's 100 songs per year, a movie per year. That's 2 songs a week consistently for 7 years. Had Tupac survived, he would have outwritten and outsold every other hip hop artist in history combined. And that wouldn't even account for his movie stuff and then what he became after that. Probably a politician, probably president, most likely Mashiach. These next 2 screenshots are just comments from people that I screenshotted off comments boards that just show that Tupac had like this connection, visceral connection with a whole lot of people, even, younger people that weren't born until like a decade or more after Tupac died. Okay, a commonality in both those is that Tupac was a warrior and a great fighter, and he definitely was fighting for something, but he was also had great love in his heart. He was a very compassionate person too. Which brings me to Pac's tattoos, and I'm not going to talk about all of them. I'm just going to give you my prophetic conjecture on 2 of them. The 2 being the Egyptian-looking one on his right pec, and then his back tattoo, the Exodus one. Okay, firstly, Tupac's Exodus back tattoo is highly contested because it says Exodus 18:31. Only chapter 18 of Exodus doesn't have 31 verses, it only has 27. Okay, the first theory is it's not actually Exodus 18:31. It's actually Exodus 18:11 because the 3 looks like 11 at certain angles. And that gives you the following from Exodus. The second theory is that there was a riot in 1831 in where a group of slaves killed a bunch of slave masters and stuff. The flaw of both of these theories is it has too much death. Tupac would never tattoo that much death on his body. He wasn't interested in the retribution. He knew he was a messianic figure, a Moses like figure, and that was the message he was trying to convey. Okay, for my prophetic speculation, you first have to know what chapter 18 of Exodus is all about. And that is the chapter where Jethro, Moses' father in law, comes to visit him as they are exodusing from Egypt and going to Mount Sinai. Long story short, Jethro sees that Moses basically just sits there from sun up till sundown, and the Israelites just bombard him with their disputes over and over. You know, big ones, little ones, petty ones, pretty much anything. So Moses is doing that all day long, just resolving disputes. So this is what Jethro says to Moses. When his father in law saw all that Moses was doing for the people, he said, "What is this you are doing for the people? Why do you alone sit as judge while all these people stand around you from morning till evening?" And in the very next two verses, which are verses 15 and 16, which add up to 31, Moses replies, "Because the people come to me and seek God's will, whenever they have a dispute is brought to me, and I decide between the parties and inform them of God's decrees and instructions." You see, the 31 isn't one verse, it's two verses together, side by side, because he was Tupac. It's like a riddle. And when you read that verse, you know, it's quite evident this Moses is telling to Jethro, because I have to do it, because I'm the prophet. I'm the one that talks to God. None of these other people can do it. I'm the prophet. And Tupac was saying the same thing, which is why around Exodus there's a cross, because he was basically taking ownership of the messianic nature of him. He knew exactly what he was, and that was kind of his cross to bear, you know? He was the only one that could do it. Or if anybody else was going to pop out of the woodwork, they weren't popping out the woodwork at that time, only him. Okay, so Tupac's chest tattoo with the Egyptian woman and the to die for underneath, that is also Egyptian and pertains to Moses. That woman is supposed to relate to both Tupac's mother, Afeni, and Moses' mother, Princess Bithia, who later became Queen Bithia. The to die for is Afeni. It's something she told Tupac when he was younger. If you can't find anything to live for, you best find something to die for. And that way, Pac was saying that, you know, thank God that I had Afeni. You know, I never had a dad. If my mom would have been as absent from my life as my father, I would be even more messed up than I am. So thank God for a good mother, and that's what it means. And that also relates to Princess Bithia, because Princess Bithia, again in the Bible, in Exodus, finds Moses. He was abandoned by his mother, and she saves Moses' life and raises him as a prince in Egypt. So Princess Bithia is actually the one that named Moses Moses. His actual name is Moshe. And most people think the translation is to be drawn out, or he who is drawn out, kind of like it's an elemental, but that's not what it means. What Moshe really means is basically what Bithia said when she found him. It's a little bit different in the Bible, but when she found him, she basically said, "I draw you from the water. I save you. I don't know who abandoned you. It makes no difference now, but they gave up their claim on you. I save you. I am your mother. You are my beloved. You are my Adonai." That's what Moshe means. See, it's not elemental at all. It's just the first thing an adopting mother said when she found an abandoned baby. All right, I'm running out of time, so I'll do all the music stuff in the next video, which is fine. It'll give me a chance to greater explain that. But let me just drop a couple more screenshots and do some more commentary, like on my favorite pictures of Tupac. So enjoy. Yeah, that's my favorite one of Tupac and his mom, Afeni. So don't really have any other commentary other than that. And that one's my favorite picture of Tupac of all time. Why? Because he seems so happy. You can tell it's right after he got that tattoo, but before he got his Thug Life tattoo. So I can't really narrow that down to a year, but I like it because he seems genuinely happy for once. And in conclusion, my last screenshot is going to be it's a screenshot from a remix video that I found on the internet. It's one line in it, and it to me it emphasizes pretty much everything that Tupac was and how a whole lot of people on this planet feel, and why a whole lot of people can identify with Tupac Shakur.